talk about Trump's new Stargate $500 billion AI investment that's going on right now. We're going to talk about the new crypto task force, and we're also going to talk about the all the changes with the Trump administration, what's going on. So say hello in the chat, y'all. We're going live here. We got Dan coming on in just a few minutes, talking all the fun stuff coming out of the Trump administration right now for markets. It looks like the SEC has just announced a crypto task force, which we knew was coming. We got David Sachs as the crypto czar, and we've got apparently in the first 100 days they're going to be releasing all sorts of info and clarity to the crypto industry. It should be pretty fun. We got Dan here. Let me just bring him on live, and then we're going to go drop first while Dan's joining. And we'll give a little background on what Stargate is, how Trump is. I mean, this is only the first 2 days of the Trump administration. We're getting $500 billion investment into AI infrastructure inside of America. Dan, welcome on. Good to see you.
What's up, Bridger? Is my audio okay? I'm sitting in my car.
Yeah, we can see in the nice cyber truck there. You're looking good.
All right, man.
Let's
rock, dude.
Yeah, let's talk Stargate. So $500 billion investment. We got SoftBank CEO. We had that Sam Altman there, Larry Ellison last night. I mean, we're only 2 days into the Trump presidency, and we're already seeing all this. What do you think of, Dan, of Stargate?
I think it's pretty innovative. It's going to bring a lot of momentum into AI. And as we've talked about before, the crossover into blockchain as well. So we've got a catalyst of Mentos and Coke, two massive ingredients mixing together right now. Great opportunity, though, I think, is going to be presenting itself here in 25.
Yeah, it's pretty. We're only a couple days in. And it's pretty fun. Additionally, if you saw Donald Trump Jr. posted to commemorate the 47th president, they bought $47 million of Ethereum. They bought $47 million of wrapped Bitcoin, and then $4.7 million. I think it was an XLM, Aave, and a few other tokens. We're seeing obviously the Trump family's they just launched their Trump coin, Melania coin. People have been asking me about that, Dan. Give us your thoughts on the Trump Melania coin and maybe what's next, meme coins. What part of the market are we in? Where are we at?
So we thought at first, when I saw them first show up on X and on Truth Social, it looked like it could be a hacked account issue, but it was very unlikely that Truth Social and X were simultaneously hacked. And so it was an interesting play. But with all the emotion and timing coming up to inauguration, a lot of inflows, massive inflows. But again, remember, these are not utility-based tokens. They're emotionally based on a personal brand. And so now we've seen that correction. I posted a little bit of the funny chart that looked like Trump's the actual chart on it going up and down looked like Trump's face profile, which is kind of funny. But we'll see how those projects go. You know, a lot of people have been asking, do you think it'll go up, down, or whatever? You know, that has a lot to do with personal branding from Trump. And Melania is like a halo effect. If Trump's really popular, then Melania is going to be really popular too. But again, you've seen the corrections because, again, they're meme coins, right? They're not. And Melania, even on her website, said, look, this is not like a financial thing or anything like that. This is more for entertainment, you know. But again, Doge was entertainment. SHIB is entertainment. Pepe is like entertainment. They don't do anything, right? They're not.
There it is.
Look at that profile.
There's the profile.
You know, it's just like.
Which is pretty fun.
The hair, the bangs too, dude.
Yeah. Another one we're waiting. So, I mean, this week, as soon as this week, we could see some big announcements we've been looking for. One of the big ones is Trump has said earlier he wants to make the United States the crypto capital of the world. One of the big things would be tax exemptions on U.S.-based crypto companies. A few of those allegedly would be XLM, XRP, HBAR, Algo, any other, Dan, that could be affected. We'll see as soon as maybe this week on some crypto ideas. Any thoughts there?
There's some smaller cap ones, but the ones you talked about are the major, large momentum caps, and some of those have good functional utility as well. So, but remember this, before people decide to like go crazy and buy those too much, realize they're run up like a lot because, again, the anticipation. So a lot of people will make a mistake a lot of times with whether it's stocks or crypto or anything, is they'll pile into something that's already run up. It's got a giant green candle, and then they get all stressed out when it corrects down and reaches a more sane, non-emotional amount. So I would be still very wary of those things. And a lot of those tokens are fund we've deployed into since 22, some of these positions. So it's not like we're going in and aping into them with huge amounts at this point, because we already hold significant amounts of a lot of those, right?
Yeah, crypto capital. Drop questions in the chat if you guys have them. This morning, Nasdaq's CEO talked about the IPO market this year, and then specifically talked about crypto IPOs. It feels like capital markets are just opening up right now. We've seen this with high net worth individuals as far as flowing into our fund. And then additionally on larger scales, Goldman Sachs mentioned, they said they have the strongest indicators for huge M&A activity in IPO markets for 2025. A lot from moving from a very, you could call it restrictive presidency, to now a very open and pro-economy of presidency that we're only 2 days into this, and we've already seen like a $500 billion investment like we talked about earlier.
Bridger,
it's pretty significant right now.
I do have a large zoom out 30,000 square foot analysis, being that I'm kind of old and been investing, since the 90s. And you see political regimes as cyclical. It'll usually swing left and right, whether it's a decade or a decade and a half. And the one thing that you're going to see during the Trump presidency is probably very advantageous legislation for large corporations. That's why you saw Bezos and Bezos's wife and Zuckerberg looking at Bezos's. I'm just messing with you. You saw some, that was weird, huh? So you saw a lot of weird stuff. You had all the lizard people and the aliens all in one room there. You all right?
Yeah, I'm back.
One room there.
Yeah.
Because all of these guys know, and Zuck getting on Rogan talking about, oh man, the previous administration strong-armed me and all this. And the reason being is they all want to get tax subsidies. And Elon with Tesla, he's been bro with Trump the whole way. So my crystal ball, if we're working, I would see Tesla getting some big government contracts for spaceships and electrical infrastructure and these things. But here's the summary. We're going to see in this next couple of years a massive separation of wealth. So you're going to see poor people really getting a lot poorer, big corporations and rich people getting a lot richer. And for the people in the middle, it's an opportunity. And this is why I think blockchain exposure and some equity exposure could be not a bad thing, as long as you're in the right projects, right? Because the wind is in the sails and you're not swimming upstream anymore. I mean, we did really well swimming upstream. This is like, you can't change the government, but you can sure ride the waves pretty good, right? When you can kind of see it.
Yeah, that concept of like the middle class, like rich getting richer, poor getting poorer. For me, I'm like I can't control the government. I just want to end up on the rich side, And I think people on this chat, like if you're sitting there, and whether you think it's right or wrong, I would tell myself, you know what? I gotta play the environment I'm in, and I'm gonna end up on the rich side. I'm gonna go to the good side, right? And for at least me and my family, that's what we're gonna make happen. Dan, I want to ask you. So this last week, I got Coin Market Cap pulled up. We've seen a little bit of movement. Bitcoin's been up and then down. Ethereum's been kind of flat. We see Solana up 30% this week. Walk me through the movement of why Solana, and at least for the last 7 days, why Solana, and why have other coins not moved as much? Walk me through that.
My analysis is Trump coin and Melania coin. When you saw those coins drop and you saw a lot of capital being dispersed to those, you saw a lot of alts and small cap tokens dropping massively because people are pretty deployed as far as like their crypto bags into the market. Maybe they can squeeze some more money from the sidelines, but a lot of them are like, well, hey, I'm really run up on a lot of these. Let's sell that stuff and move it into that. And realize Melania and Trump coin are based on the Solana blockchain. So if the president chose to build his ecosystem on that, and he's made a couple $1 billion, few $1 billion, it's probably he's probably going to urge that ecosystem to thrive. You know what I'm saying? He's going to probably fertilize it in whatever legal ways that he can, because that's the chain that he chose. And then the next rumor is they're going to do a mirror or a bridge to Ethereum and have his tokens available on the Ethereum as a mirror. Because sometimes you can buy a token on multiple chains, like USDC, right? You can buy it on pretty much most of the major chains. So, and that's why I think Ethereum, it's been sleepy, but as soon as that happens, that mirror happens, it's going to be interesting to see what happens to Ethereum.
Yeah, Ethereum, it's been funny, has been sleepy. Let me go back on here. We're sitting Ethereum at $3,200. It was as high, if I go back to let's go a 1 year chart, hit pretty high back last March when the ETFs got announced. We hit over 4,000. Kind of been, sleepy, people would say. A lot of people want Ethereum to be at $10,000 by this point. Here's a zoomed out chart. We're still off on Ethereum, 32% off all-time highs.
Yep.
Which is kind of crazy. So we are still well off that price target. Dan, on this, back to this chart, we've talked about this before on our Instagrams and stuff. So for people who haven't seen this before, this is a typical cycle that we've seen the last 2 cycles. Bitcoin runs first, then usually Ethereum, then large caps, then alts. Now this cycle, we've seen Bitcoin run. We've seen some large caps take off early. Ethereum's kind of been a little sleepy. We've seen a few alts take off. But Dan, where do you think we're at in the market cycle right now? Where do you point us?
Well, right now, Bitcoin is a big common denominator. We talked about Bitcoin dominance, typically floating around 60% of all of crypto, 60% of being Bitcoin. Now you see like mid-50s. As that drops and people take profit on Bitcoin, you see flow into phase 2, 3, and 4. And we're probably right at that beginning stage. Now, what's weird is phase 3 kind of like front ran Ethereum. But here's my analysis on Ethereum. Ethereum is the main base system for project utility. There's so many projects under it, but all the L2s like Arbitrum and some of these other ones are built in a sense off of Ethereum. They're just more efficient versions of that, different variants. And you continue to see very large inflows in ETFs into Ethereum. You saw Donald Trump Jr.'s, World Finance Project or whatever, do 47 million of inflows into that as well. So it's a lot of times those sleepers. And let me just take you back to Ripple. I've owned Ripple for years and years and years and just kind of sat around and everyone's like, dude, it's never going anywhere. And then explosion, right? I'm not saying that's going to happen to Ethereum, but it could. You just look at the math on the inflow. Now, how many L2 projects and how many projects are being developed under Ethereum is the key. Now, one big catalyst is Vitalik, who started Ethereum. The Ethereum resistance of people really getting into it is caused because the gas fee. So if you send Ethereum, buy a project in there, it's significantly higher than, let's say, HBAR, Avalanche, any of these others, Ripple. The transaction fees are so low on Solana, just for example. Now, with a simple code change, with good, clean coding, they could fix that. And I bet you they do. They're moving towards that. But they tend to be very conservative with Ethereum and Bitcoin doing any major code changes because they don't want to break it, right? It's like, we don't want to break this thing. But it's inevitable because if you think about it, I mean, if their financial wealth and project thriving is based on that, you're probably going to see some movement up.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Ethereum, the Trump family, for example, just bought a ton of Ethereum. And so that makes, even though it's kind of sleepy, as far as I have a lot of friends asking me about, XRP or Solana, they've run up quite a bit. Can they run more? For sure. But you're buying at a decent, it's ran a little bit is what I'm trying to say. Ethereum, though, could be still on sale. We don't really know what'll happen, but XRP, people are like, XRP could be $10,000. I'm like, I don't think so. Just the math isn't math, and if he goes there, it could maybe go to $4 or $7. At the very peak, you could double your money. But I think Ethereum, this cycle, we could see it going to 10,000 a coin, 12,000. I think very, very easily with where it's at. But we don't know. But a lot of these have already
Or it
ran.
could go to zero. Like we
Yeah.
like to put the disclaimer in. This is not financial advice because weird stuff happens. And even with Bitcoin on this rise up, we talked about seeing possible corrections between the end of the year, Bitcoin dropping into the 70s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, cyclically, it's happened. If you look at the last few cycles, that's normal to have this volatility. So it's not something that I think, like, we're not day traders, though, because it's almost impossible to exactly time
Yeah.
where it's going to go. It's more of a long-term approach.
Yep. So now overall, though, we think we're pretty early in this cycle still. We think we're still early. It's still fun. And a lot of these, back to our, let's go back to this one, Dan, to the preview here. How early do you think we are, Dan? Are we 20% through this, 50% through this? Where do you think?
I think Bitcoin, being if they don't do a strategic reserve, is probably a little more than 50% through its run. Now, if they do a Bitcoin strategic reserve for the U.S., obviously all the G20 countries will jump in, Russia, China, everybody, and you'll see a crazy amount of inflow, and that obviously amplifies all those other three phases, right? Ethereum phase right now, it is a lot higher. I remember us buying it at $950, right? Bridger, remember we were buying a bunch, and
Yep.
so it's pretty good returns actually from 950 to 3,000 something.
Yep.
But the biggest money and the most riskiest money is in the mid and small caps. The smaller you go, higher the upside, but again, big chance of things blowing up, right?
Yep. So it's pretty fun. We think we're in a good spot. We've got, obviously, to recap, Stargate, $500 billion investment coming into AI infrastructure in the United States. We believe a number of crypto announcements from the new administration are going to come out soon. We have a new SEC chair. We have a crypto task force team led by David Sachs, and then on the SEC as well, looking to clarify the industry. And overall optimism amongst, you look at the CEO of Coinbase, CEO of these other big platforms, very optimistic and very excited right now because of this regime change. So overall, it's a fun time to be in the market. It always is a fun time to be in the market, but especially right now, it's especially a fun time to be in. So anything else, Dan, you'd add?
Yeah, can you update publicly what we can talk about with our fund? Where we've gone, how full are we? We have some stuff we're baking. I'm going to let you open up because you're our compliance officer. Maybe you can let everybody know. We're getting a lot of direct messages about our hedge fund.
Yeah, so we run a fund. We manage roughly $30 million in capital. We've ran this for 2.5 years now, all audited, third-party administrator returns. We've done extremely well as a fund. We're a 506c, so we can publicly advertise our fund and talk about it, just so you guys are aware. We have we're at, I think, 97 spots of our 99 spots in our fund. We're capped by the SEC. Minimum commitment for our fund is $250,000 to join. So this is for accredited investors. We're opening right now Ugly Unicorn Fund 2. That is for qualified purchasers, which means you have a $5 million net worth. So these are for, millionaires or multimillionaire people. We do content like this. So follow Bridger Pennington and Dan's Millionaire Code. We do content for everybody, though, on crypto. We like for everyone to be involved in crypto and talk about it. Our fund is restricted for people that have a decent net worth. They can put in at least $250,000. And we actively manage and run that fund for them. So we're opening Ugly Unicorn Fund 2. So if you have people or an uncle or a friend or somebody that's interested, send us a direct message to me or Dan, and we can respond and hop on a phone call or Zoom call and walk them through the specifics of the fund. But as we're going, we want to just share insights. We're going to do lives going forward on Wednesdays. We post content on just crypto in general because we believe this is an amazing asset class. And yes, our fund is for very wealthy individuals, but it's also, we want to just help the regular Joe out there. And I know I started in crypto back in 2017. Dan, you started in crypto back in 2013. And I started with just a few $100, and then it was a few $1,000, then it was more. And I'm sure Dan was the same way. And I think a lot of people enter this space, and it's an incredible space to be in. And so we want to help people, whether you're a multimillionaire and want to join our fund and be a part of it, we'd love to talk to you, or you're a brand new person in crypto, we want to help you and be in the process with you.
Bridger, I want to share a story really quickly with everybody. a lot of people have been following me since like 2014, right? When we built that biggest Bitcoin mining facility in South Jordan, Utah, right? And a lot of people back then weren't accredited. And I've been getting message after message from people saying, I'm accredited now because I made some deployments based on my own research, based on some of the information you guys gave. And we don't tell people what tokens to buy, but we give people kind of broad market and how to engage a little more safely. And some of these guys and girls are accredited now, and it's funny that that they hit that, and now they're joining the fund. So even if you're not accredited, we want to give this information to you so you can build your personal wealth into those levels. And realize Bridger and I are not crypto total maximists. We hold a lot of real estate, normal stocks and equities, and we own companies as well. And so we have not like mortgaged our homes and businesses and tapped max credit lines to fully deploy into crypto. It's part of a portfolio of long-term growth, because you really got to look at it in decades. And with all this excitement with memes and all that, a lot of people have this big gambling mentality of like getting rich overnight. But really, even with crypto, you know, you got to take profits at certain times and diversify your portfolio. You cannot be all a single asset, right? You really don't want to be. But the good news is the wind is just starting in this bull run in 25. So now maybe is a time to accumulate more capital and then maybe buy some more apartment buildings and expand your business and do that. But don't be afraid to take profits, guys. It's so important, because you can get so high off the rise and think it's unstoppable. And just when you think that happens, 70, 80% correction and then panic mode. Then you have PTSD your whole life, and then you never engage in tech again. And then you wait 10, 20 years, and then you're old, and then you're broke, and you're sad. So don't let that happen. We try to guide you on some practical sense when you're evaluating things.
Yep, exactly. All right, Dan, I love it. We'll post a recording of this. We talked about the Stargate, the new, all the new stuff from Trump, and then crypto right now, what we're seeing with Ethereum, Solana, XRP, all that kind of stuff. Come next Wednesday, we'll be live. Y'all are awesome. Go follow Dan, follow me.
And give this a share, because these are questions that like hundreds of people are asking us. So if you could, you want to know, like, how can I repay you guys? Because we don't sell crypto advisement courses or anything like that. But you can share it so we can help educate people so they don't get as hurt, and maybe they have a little more upside than they would on their own.
Yeah, I love it.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Thank y'all.
Love y'all.
See y'all later.